I want to go with the offensive line, defensive line. We'll work from there.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
At the offensive line, which is literally throwing darts, unless your name is Bill Bedenbaugh, outside of one, Creed Humphrey. We know that Creed Humphrey is the best offensive lineman that Oklahoma possesses today. And there was a really good discussion about whether or not he was the best offensive lineman Oklahoma had last year. And that's a really big deal, seeing as all four of the other eligible guys that started next to him were drafted in the second, third, or fourth round of last year's NFL draft. That is big time. And there's lots of folks that think Creed Humphrey could be one of those interior linemen that is selected in the first round of the upcoming NFL draft if he just plays anything like he did the last 2 years. Now, behind him, you got a depth problem. And that's the thing about this offensive line. You got a depth problem at center more than you got a depth problem anywhere else, because behind him, you're talking about Clayton Woods, who is a redshirt senior, who snapped the ball when Creed Humphrey was hurt to Jalen Hurts during the spring game. And then EJ Ndoma Ogar coming in this summer, who I think is going to be a stud. He's already turning heads with his feats of strength. But I think if Creed got hurt, you're going to have to go to Clayton Woods, not EJ. And you might even have to throw Tyrese Robinson in there, and we'll get to him in a second. But at left guard, I think you're going to have RJ Proctor, grad transfer from Virginia, as your starter. I like RJ Proctor. Got to talk to him. That video is on the channel where I interviewed him about why he picked and committed to Oklahoma. He's coming in knowing that he needs to lead. He's coming in knowing what they desire from him. He can play every position on the line, but we know that he played left guard at Virginia. That's where he was comfortable. He was their best offensive lineman out there. I expect him to be the guy who is more or less like a vice captain on that offensive line, helping Creed get some leadership duties under control, and also be the guy that everybody's looking to who's looking at Creed. That's a big deal to have a guy like that on your offensive line to support your most talented offensive lineman. Behind him, I'm going with Marquise Hayes, because I think that that's the next guy up, unless that guy is Tyrese Robinson. But Marquise Hayes has the physical build and the feet to play that left guard position and come out flying. I also think that Tyrese Robinson is going to be your starting right guard. And I think that Tyrese Robinson is your second best or second most talented interior lineman behind Creed Humphrey, and that would be the guy I expect to take over snapping the football if Creed got hurt, if he broke his hand, if whatever would happen. And I know that everybody's knocking on a piece of wood right now, but my mind doesn't think in best case scenarios. My mind thinks in Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If you don't have a contingency plan or a backup plan, you don't have a plan. That's where I come from. So Tyrese Robinson at right guard, starting the best of times. At center, I think if Creed Humphrey's hurt. Behind him, I got Michael Thompson. I think Michael Thompson has the feet and the hands to play inside because he was defensive tackle. I mean, yeah, he was recruited at offensive line, but dude obviously wanted to play defensive tackle. That's where his mind was. And moving him over, you got another big body, 6'4", 330, that can move around. I know that he played some tackle, but I also think that you would be wasting him out there because I don't think his length is going to give you anything. I do think that he can actually get up and out of his stance. He can get to the second level. And more than that, he knows what a defensive tackle wants to do. So why not take advantage of that in the way that we do when we say quarterback, go play linebacker or safety. You know what they want to do in this instance. You know where the ball's going to go. Let's use your mind. Let's let you freestyle back there, or up front saying, no, I know how to pin this guy against the wall because I know what I would want to do in this position. I think Michael Thompson would be a really great backup at right guard and possibly be the kind of guy that could compete for a job this time next year. Then over at right tackle, I got Adrian Ealy. I know we're going to have two dudes at tackle that nobody knows what they're going to do. Nobody knows how they're going to turn out. But Adrian Ealy looks ready-made for the position. He also looks like a guy who has done more than wait his turn. If Bill Bedenbaugh sticks to what we think he does, which is play the older guys because they kind of earn it, it'll be Adrian Ealy. And then behind him, I got Daryl Simpson, David Swaby, and Stacey Wilkins. I think Stacey Wilkins is just going to take the redshirt year. That dude's got to put on a lot of weight. Swaby, JUCO transfer, guy that you could depend on. And then Daryl Simpson, perhaps the second most talented of the younger guys that still hasn't got any run yet, but I'm really interested to see what and how he figures in. I got right now at right tackle. Then at left tackle, Eric Swinton coming out the gate because I think he's the more experienced guy. He's got more years in. Also, he kind of doesn't necessarily think he's going to be a lockdown guy, but we didn't think that about Cody Ford. We didn't think Cody Ford was going to be your best right tackle. He ended up being the best player according to the NFL because he was taken the 38th pick in the draft, just slid out of the first round, and that was a guy that had never played the position before. Now, I think behind Eric Swinton, and the guy that I think is really an or rather than a backup, is Bray Walker. Bray Walker's just that dude. Matter of fact, at the same thing where Lincoln Riley said he wasn't scared of the Big 12, he said he was scared of Bray Walker. That was the guy he wouldn't want in a mixed martial arts fight. 6'8", like 340, and he was a wrestling champ, not unlike Creed. That dude's got all the ability in the world, and after redshirting last year, I really do believe that guy's going to push for a starting job, either at left tackle or right tackle. I got him at left tackle because I think that's where you put the more talented, longer, athletic dude. But I could easily see him just fitting in wherever he needs to go. I mean, he played some guard in the spring game. I don't know he's not a guard. He's a left tackle, or right tackle. He's a tackle, offensive tackle. But I really think that by the middle of the season, we're going to see Bray Walker starting more games, and we're going to see less of Eric Swinson. Now, on the defensive line, I got Neville Gallimore as your starting defensive tackle for reasons that everybody already acknowledges. Most talented guy on the defensive line. We need him to have a big year. He's a redshirt senior. This ought to be his defense and his year. Behind him, we got Marquise Overton and Troy James. Now, because Grinch is going to run 4 men on the line of scrimmage on the defensive line, but only has 3 dudes with their hands on the ground, this is how I think it's going to go down. You're going to have 2 defensive tackles, 1 defensive end, 1 rush end. So the second defensive tackle, I think starting Dylan Faamatau, who's done enough to show you that he has all the power and the speed and the agility to play position. But, dude, you picked up like 3 defensive holding penalties last year. You can't do that anymore. You got to be more mature. You have to understand where you are. You have to understand down and distance. And you're going to have to be better in this 1-gap scheme where you're playing a 2-gap scheme. Now you get to do what you do best, which is split people and go kill a quarterback, go kill a running back, and make it really difficult to operate in an opponent's backfield for them. Now behind him, I got Zacchaeus McKinney and then Marcus Hicks. Marcus Hicks is the most talented person on the defense, full stop. From an athletic standpoint, there is not a more talented person on the defense. Let that settle. Now, why would I say that? Because track and football has this really cool index called the Player Athletic Index, where they use track and field data to measure football athleticism, right? At the top end is like a 5.0. That's Adrian Peterson. That's Julio Jones. The guy with the highest number of the entire OU football team is Marcus friggin' Hicks. This dude was a state champ in wrestling, had like 1 loss all of last year, was suplexing dudes that were 40 pounds heavier than him, was making them look foolish, went out there and performed in discus, and all the throws, actually, discus, shot, he was good. And his dad, Kelvin, is awesome. But more than that, I think Marcus Hicks is going to learn to play inside, interior. He's already rocking around at 270 when he got onto campus. Expect him to get a little bit bigger. And knowing that Grinch wants his defensive tackles around 295, I don't think it's that big a stretch to think that Marcus Hicks could be that guy. But I also got him starting further down the depth chart just because he's a true freshman. Probably want a red shirt, and we'll see. Now, at defensive end, Ronnie Perkins is the dude. Ronnie Perkins has been chirping. Good. I like chirping. I like chirping in public. It means you are expecting great things for yourself. It means that you want the pressure to perform. Well, Ronnie, now's the time. Strong side defensive end. I got starting over Captain Kenneth Mann, right? I mean, you're going to 2 platoon in. So starting on the defensive line doesn't mean a whole lot, but you still want to count starts versus non-starts. And I think Kenneth Mann is going to push Ronnie Perkins, and I think they're going to push each other, and those are going to be your 2 dudes rotating the most. But behind him, I got Corey Roberson, and of course, Isaiah Thomas out of my alma mater, Tulsa Memorial. Isaiah's just got to show me some stuff for me to move him up the depth chart. I don't necessarily feel bad about that. If anything, I feel bad about Kenneth Mann behind Ronnie Perkins, but I like it as an or. Also, I'd be fine starting either one of those guys at strong side defensive end. It would just work for me. At Russian, you got so many dudes. You got Mark Jackson, who I know Pro Football Focus has a love affair with, but I've seen Mark Jackson play. I know he's a liability in space. But in this scheme, all he's really got to do is cover the flat and go kill a quarterback. Now, I know he's responsible for curl, and I know he's going to have to run with the occasional fullback, running back, even tight end, but the job is to be the edge rusher. Get out there in a 4'9" and go kill somebody. The Eric Striker role, all right? This is the most fun position on the field, period. This would be the position that I most want to play. This is the star position. This is why I think you got so many bodies here and you got so many tweeners that are running in it. So Mark Jackson behind him, but that's only because I don't know if Jalen Redmond's going to be completely healthy. Anybody you talk to about Jalen Redmond is going to tell you that is pure talent. That dude just can play football, especially not having much experience, having played the game before. But the blood clot thing is real. And I'm surprised that he's even cleared to play football, honestly, because, that's not something to play with. I mean, we're talking about a life and death situation here, and the slightest thing gets him pulled. Okay, no more football for you. And that's why I got him second. I don't even know that I would give him that many reps if I was defensive coordinator or defensive line coach, because I want to give those reps to guys I know can play. And I understand that they're trying to do right by Jalen Redmond, but you also need to do right by the football team. And you got so many dudes that play this position. Jalen Redmond's going to have to be healthy. He's going to have to show that he performs, and then he's not going to have to give up anything. Otherwise, that'll be all she wrote for Jalen Redmond. Behind him, I got Joseph Wette, long, lean, athletic, put on some weight. Same dude behind him, David Ugwebu. Both of those guys are mirrors to me. I think that they're both ridiculous coming off the edge. I think they got great length. I think they're great athletes. I also think they're true freshmen, right? We're going to do some growing up. And then behind them, Nick Benito and John Michael Terry. I thought John Michael Terry was going to be pretty good inside linebacker when he got to Oklahoma, and that just hasn't panned out. He has to move over to Jack. Jack's become rush in. We'll see where he fits. Nick Benito, same difference. That was an All-American. That guy played an underarm All-American with him, and all of a sudden we haven't heard word one from him. Maybe both of those guys can get in front of the freshmen, but I've seen more from the freshmen until the freshmen prove that I'm wrong, or Benito and Terry prove that I'm wrong. That's my depth chart. So that's what defensive line looks like for me. Now let's get to some skill positions, all right? Running back, I think it's fairly obvious with, fight me, but I got Kennedy Brooks as the starter, okay? Trey Sermon as the second. I mean, you can call them co-starters, you can call them or. That's probably what they'll look like in the official depth chart when that comes out in like a month. My God, just update the depth charts already. Like, this is stupid. All right, so you got behind him Ramondre Stevenson. I think because Ramondre is a JUCO transfer and he's bigger than everybody chasing him. And he's just as fast as TJ Pledger, which is why I got TJ Pledger behind him. I know you're All-American. I know you went to IMG, but Ramondre Stevenson is a monster. He's humongous. Like, he might be bigger than Samaje. Okay, we'll get to see that up close. But perhaps TJ Pledger's put on some weight. Maybe he's a sturdier runner, less of a scat back out of the backfield. That means that you run more between the tackles. But the dude that might fight everybody on all of this is Marcus Major, who J.D. Runnels dubbed the closest thing to Adrian Peterson that he's ever seen. Cool. I'm all for a Millwood kid holding up for Adrian Peterson, but my God, you better be lights out. And he might be. 215 pounds, about 6 feet tall, can flat out fly, might drop 4.4 in the 40. Still a true freshman. There are lots of guys in front of him, and they're all really good. But one thing we learned from the 2018 season, you can never have enough running backs. Started out with Duke 5, like the same problem, just depth. And then Rodney Anderson went down. That was one, okay? Then you lost Trey Sermon to an ankle injury off and on. Then you lost Marcellus Sutton to a broken leg. Then TJ Pledger picked up the hip injury, and all of a sudden Kennedy Brooks was the only dude left standing. So it's kind of a wash because by October, running back situation is going to look a whole lot different because the odds of all of them being healthy is just a battering ram of a position. It's low, right? So that's what I think it is right now. Then at fullback, I got Braden Willis ahead of Jeremiah Hall and then Kobe Tillman. I think Braden Willis he's won Lincoln Riley over, all right? There's nothing that Lincoln loves more than a football mind for offense. And this dude played quarterback coming out of high school, was being recruited at tight end, played some tight end last year, looked good doing it. They asked him, can you put on 20 pounds? He put on 20 pounds. They moved him to fullback. So now you get somebody that he actually can trust to do that multi-back stuff that Demetri Flowers was doing. Not to say Carson Meyer wasn't good, but he wasn't Demetri Flowers. That's no shade. That's just what it is. And if you can get more of that, you have somebody else that can help Jalen Hurts, all right? You can do more things. You can give more outs. You can be more pass-oriented because you really want balance, but balance is only going to be good if you can throw the football, all right? If people know that you're going to run it on rundowns and you ain't very good at running the ball, you need to be able to have something in your back pocket with a dude flaring out when nobody's used to seeing him flare out, right? Braden Willis is that guy. He understands blocking. He understands pass catching. He understands quarterback play. He knows how to do the offense. And that's what you're asking the H-back, the fullback, to do in a Lincoln Riley offense. That's why I got him ahead of Jeremiah Hall, because Jeremiah Hall should have beat out Carson Meyer. Couldn't do that. We'll see what happens with Jeremiah Hall. Okay, so at X, CD. Really? We're going to argue about that? I don't think so. Behind him, I got Theo Weiss, Jaden Hazelwood, and A.D. Miller. That's a strong group. All right? Theo Weiss, for me, is the most ready-made pro of any of the true freshmen. I feel comfortable saying that guy has the tools to play in the NFL today. It's about developing a bit more size and just going up against better competition to prove that he's still the guy that he was down at Allen, who was just legit awesome. Jaden Hazelwood, we'll wait and see. I think that Theo's a better prospect, but that ain't to say that Jaden Hazelwood wasn't, the number one wide receiver in a class according to 247. He's still plenty good. And then A.D. Miller coming back after wanting to go to the portal and coming out of the portal. I always wanted A.D. to be good, but now it seems like he's going to be an afterthought. Still, it's a nice dude to have on your depth chart. Nice guy to have going up against the defense when we're talking about size, because that's a good look. He's going to give you a good look. And then I got at H, Nick Basquin. Behind him, Trajan Bridges with an asterisk. We'll get into that a bit. then Michael Jones, and of course Drake Stoops, right? You're going to be deep at H. I also think that you're going to have the ability to move around some guys. You're not going to see a whole lot of H because you're going to see more Y, because you're going to be bigger, and they rarely run 5 guys out there at the same time. They rarely run 4 wide at the same time. I mean, you're going to see 2 backs when you can see 2 backs. You're probably going to see more of a fullback, probably going to see more tight end concepts. The H is going to be nice, but I don't think it's going to be a focal point of the offense. Still, it's really nice to have Nick Basquin back, and I want him to do well. The Y position, I got Lee Morris ahead of Grant Calcaterra. I think Lee Morris is the most talented tight end at Oklahoma. And the flex tight end position has been really, really fun at Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, it goes Lee Morris, Grant Calcaterra, and Austin Stogner. That's what I got. I think it's Lee Morris, Grant Calcaterra, and Austin Stogner because Austin Stogner is a true freshman. That dude has a frame on him, and he can move around. Like, that was actually the really cool thing to see out of a lot of those guys. And even CeeDee Lamb was saying, hey, man, Austin moves way better than I thought he would move for a guy his size. He's enormous. That's a dude that you really love having in the program. You think can develop into a low-key star at Oklahoma. Could be the next Mark Andrews. But right now, Lee Morris has got to just shut y'all up because some of y'all are still in love with Grant Calcaterra. It's no shade to Grant. It's just when Lee caught a touchdown, he caught a touchdown. Like when he caught a pass touchdown. That's what it was. He was Lee TD. He was beast mode the whole time. He was that good. They had to give him a scholarship in the middle of the season because he was that good. What do you want? You know, that's the thing. I get the Grant Calcaterra can still be good. I get the Grant Calcaterra is both on the Mackey Award and the Biletnikoff watch list. But you know what? It's like 50 dudes long. He's going to be there. I just also think that enough media have not seen Lee Morris. That's the thing about these watch lists. As a guy who has or is on a selection committee, Jim Thorpe Award selection committee, for those of you that don't know, a lot of it is just who did people see. And if you saw a dude up close, you're more likely to fight for him being on a list, and you're more likely to bring it to the rest of the committee, be like, hey, can we pull up this guy's film real quick? Because I think he's really good. And then it'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, I see it. Throw him on the list. And I think that's a big part of it. Now, at the Z position, which is the Hollywood Brown position opposite CeeDee Lamb, I got Charleston Rambo, Jaquaylin Crawford, and then Bridges in parentheses because I think Trajan showed enough in the spring game to where you're going to want to use him somehow, some way. Not to say that he's going to start at H or Z, but I think you're going to see him on the field more than you're going to see any other true freshman on the offense. I believe that. That dude's just, he's got it, all right? He knows where the ball is. He knows how to fight for the ball. He's not 6'3", but neither am I. And I don't doubt myself against none of y'all. I think that Trajan Bridges is that good. And he's going to work his way onto the field. Jaquaylin Crawford might be the second fastest guy on the field, other than Trey Brown. If Trey Brown's on the field too, returning kicks, that's going to be fun. I think both of those guys are going to have an opportunity to run one back if there's ever opportunity to run one back because kickoff is what kickoff is now. Of course, at quarterback, I already went through that. Hurts, Mordecai, Schaefer, Rattler. Rattler because you want to get the redshirt year. Schaefer is ahead of him because you don't have to, preserve him. And then Mordecai because he's a better quarterback than Schaefer. Yes, I know you'll fight me on the spring game, but you know what? Whatever you want to do. At Mike, I got Kenneth Murray Jr., I got Levi Draper, I got Brian Asamoah, and Jonathan Perkins. At Will, I got Deshaun White, Brian Meade, Ryan Jones, and then, Caleb Kelly and his busted knee. Look, I like the pairing of Kenneth Murray Jr. and Deshaun White, Mike and Will. I like that. I think it's good. I think Kenneth Murray Jr. is going to thrive in this system because Brian Odom is in his ear and he's listening to everything that man has to say. Alex Grinch is in his ear and he's listening to everything that man has to say. And no matter how you slice it up, 155 tackles last year, that's a lot. Okay? Dude's on a Butkus Award watch list for a reason. And I think, yes, Deshaun White is the most instinctual linebacker of any of the linebackers on the entire depth chart. But Kenneth Murray Jr. is your second best athlete behind Marcus Hicks, and he'll probably be your best athlete on the field. And this is a position that he would just learn into play. And he seemed to just learn what he was supposed to be doing last year. This junior year, this is his magic year. He might not have the same amount of tackles, but you're going to see him get in the backfield, shoot the gaps, absolutely take advantage of this scheme, and I'm really looking forward to it. Deshaun White, instinctual, is going to be able to fill in where Murray is not. Probably going to be able to get in each other's ear going, do you see what I see? And Deshaun White could say, no, I see this. And Kenneth Murray be like, okay, cool. I think that partnership will work. I also like the idea of Levi Draper and Brian Meade to platoon it. Having the two kids from Collinsville and Owasso go in there to just shake things up and go kill people. Yes, Lord. Wash me in that. I would love nothing more than to see some Tulsa Metro kids go tear it up at middle linebacker. That would be awesome. And then behind them, it's a crapshoot. Asamoah and Jones obviously paired, and then Perkins as the holdover. Now, secondary, we got a little bit of a different problem. All right. Full disclosure here. if it was up to me, Buki starting at right corner, Trey Brown starting at left corner, put the short dudes out there against the tall dudes because short dudes are undefeated against y'all. We don't care about none of y'all. We will tear y'all a new behind. Tall dudes, they never got to fight nobody because people just walk up to him and be like, he's tall, I don't want none of him. Short dudes get picked on all the time. You know what a short dude doesn't do? Back down. We can't wait to fight y'all. And give me the junkyard dogs out there, corner, because they're going to get picked on. People going to throw balls at you out here in the Big 12. Colin Johnson's lining up out there. TJ Bash's lining up out there. Denzel Mims lining up out there. I don't care. Give me the two dudes with speed that want to play corner, that are absolutely corners, that are your best corners. The problem I have with Oklahoma right now at this moment, Buki is not playing corner. He was a 5-star corner, and everybody's pissy because he got torched at nickel, and not even half the time. The man took out an entire tight end by himself, launched himself. Look, I understand that he's versatile and that he was the dude that said, cool, I'm strong enough to play nickel. I'll play nickel without any leverage, without any help. You're going to match me up against David Sills in the slot and watch me get torched because Delarian Turner-Yell can't get over the top. That's all on y'all, all right? I say move the man to corner, okay? But as the depth chart stands, Buki probably going to play nickel. Behind him, I got Jeremiah Cradell, the true freshman from modern day, and then Pat Fields with an asterisk. Don't get twisted about Pat Fields with the asterisk, but I would love to see somebody else out there like Justin Broyles at nickel, perhaps, and Buki move to corner, but you know what? I don't get paid $1.1 million to coach defense. Alex Grinch does. Strong safety, the only guy that I have starting as a true freshman, Jamal Morris. That I talked to that dude at length. I got to know him. He's got the leadership mentality. He was out there making plays in the spring game. He gets it. He's already got the size. He can come in and play. Behind him, I got Delarian Turner-Yell, Chance Sylvia, and Jordan Parker. I know some of y'all love DTY. I know some of y'all love Jordan Parker. Chance Sylvia's coming off the Achilles. I think this is just Jamal Morris's job to lose his strong safety. At free safety, Pat Fields, all right? And then Robert Barnes, and then Justin Broyles, okay? Justin Broyles is a nickel sort of. I looked at him, he's a corner coming in. Let the dude play corner. You know, same thing with Jordan Parker. Let the dude play corner. You got a lot of corners. I also think that Miguel Edwards could fit in at nickel and or corner, but I got him at corner, all right? At left corner, probably going to start Parnell Motley. Behind him, I got Woody Washington and then Trey Norwood. Washington could easily beat out Parnell Motley for a spot. He's that good. Lots of folks in Tennessee love his game. I love his game. I got to know him. Really cool kid. He understands it. He wants the pressure of playing corner in the Big 12. That's big to me because you got to want the pressure. And then, you know, we'll see what Trey Norwood turns up being. At right corner, Trey Brown, of course. Then behind him, I got Miguel Edwards and Jaden Davis. Jaden Davis could easily jump in front of Miguel Edwards because he's coming out of St. Thomas Aquinas. He's well coached. He understands. He's also a dude that was being recruited to play a little bit of nickel when Kerry Cooks is here. And he's used to playing with knowing where his leverage is, knowing where his help is as a nickel. And that's a big part of playing that position. All right. I'm not going to waste anybody's time as a specialist. I will say that I get that you think it's a big deal to lose Austin Stibert, but it was a big deal to lose Michael Honeycutt. You know, I'm sure Reeves is going to do a good job at punting. I would go for 2. I don't really believe in the kicking game like that. I think if you're inside the red zone, you ought to go for it because the worst thing that can happen is you turn the ball over inside the opponent's own 20 and you got him pinned against the wall. I actually like that as a problem if I'm a defensive coordinator. Cool. I get to pin my ears back and I get to go try to get safeties. Let me do that. That is how I see everything shaking out heading into preseason. Questions about getting ready for Houston we're going to address at a later date, but that's what I wanted to do today.